I was just like, man, I don't love myself. And I admitted in front of like a group
Mm.
of people.
Recovery, we get that chance to really sit there and put ourselves out there. We get to do that, but we can't do that whenever we're hiding behind those emotions that are so repressed. We don't even know who we are.
And it all came from self-worth. It all came from very
Mm.
low self-worth. And I'm not judging him. I've been there. I know what that's
Yeah.
like. I can see it, right? You spot it, you
Mm.
got it.
Kind of like our recovery, we can't do it for other people. We got to do it for us.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan. This is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And I've got a question for you real quick. Would you like to go back in time and get sober whenever you were a lot younger? I know I would. And we've got someone that has that kind of experience, so he can tell us what it would be like if we had that kind of time machine. His name is Patrick Casey, and he's got 2 decades of sobriety underneath his belt. And somehow, he still felt consumed by self-hate, anger, and the insecurity of his youth. That vulnerability, that admission in a room full of people that he didn't love himself led him to uncover a completely new structured process for healing, and he's here to tell us all about it. So, Patrick, how are you doing today?
Hey, Keegan. Good, buddy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
Of course. Thank you for coming on to share your experience in recovery, because recovery is one of those things that a lot of people just either don't get, they want to get, but never really just go for it. There's a lot of misconceptions all the way around, and I'm still fairly new to it myself, but you've got a bunch of experience. But why don't you tell us a little bit about like yourself, where you're from, what your background was like, and how you kind of, I guess you fell into what you're doing now, right?
Yeah. It's definitely all interwoven and all comes on the, it's all predicated on being sober. Because if I was not sober, you and I wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be breathing
Hmm.
the path that I was on.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm from Fort Lauderdale area down in South Florida.
Okay.
Born and raised, probably around 13, moved to Georgia. My dad moved us up there because of work. My parents
Mm.
were married, so I grew up the oldest of 3. I have 2 younger sisters,
Mhm.
neither of which got the addiction gene, right? It was me.
Nah. Yeah.
Um,
Damn.
I don't, I mean, my parents definitely have had their stuff with alcohol. My dad still drinks pretty regularly. My mom
Mhm.
likes her wine a lot. And I think alcohol drove a wedge in their relationship too,
Mm.
to the point to where I was like in my early 20s. My parents divorced after 28 years, and
Ugh.
there was a lot of depression and alcohol involved with that. So it's
Yeah.
funny because it's kind of like my youngest sister, as soon as she turned 18, finished high school, they were like, all right, we're done. It's over. We got all the kids raised. So that's separated. But I
Yeah.
grew up with a lot of, like a lot of us in recovery, or a lot of us with mental health issues, I have all of the above. I grew up with a lot of trauma, a lot of
Mhm.
childhood abuse. I was a real pain in the ass kid, in trouble all the time. I
Yeah.
used to like sit in front of the class next to the teacher's desk, because I was just looking back now, Keegan, I can say I was seeking for attention, right? Like
Mm.
I was not really getting the right attention at home, so I was getting it at school, and I knew how to
Mhm.
be the center of attention, the class clown, always in trouble.
Yeah.
And that carried over into a lot of stuff with my relationships that made things difficult.
Mhm.
But my childhood was one where my parents would fight. It'd get pretty violent. The
Mm.
violence would turn on me, being the oldest. And then the
Mm.
next couple minutes later, hour later, my mom was apologizing, being loving and caring. And so I kind of grew up with this childhood that, looking back now I can use the word to describe it as confused and
Mm.
insecure. Like, I couldn't
Okay.
say that back then. I
Mhm.
just knew that, like, sometimes I got my ass beat, sometimes I got loved on, and it was always kind of back and forth, back and forth. I was getting in
Mm.
trouble, like, sent to my room on my birthdays. There's like old
Ah.
VHS home videos of like me getting scolded and yelled at, on Christmas mornings at my soccer games where my dad used to coach. So I was in
Mm.
trouble a lot. And it got to the point to where I would wake up in the morning and like kind of go in the kitchen and kind of like tiptoe through the kitchen and like kind of like, okay, what kind of mood is mom in today?
Mhm.
Kind of like really hypersensitive, like what's the facial expression on dad right now? Like, I was just kind
Mhm.
of just very insecure, man. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying that made me alcoholic or a drug addict. It did make me seek for a way to feel better and to
Mhm.
get validation and reassurance from other people, because I wasn't really getting it at home
Uh-huh.
necessarily. So I started very young, man, like cigarettes, 9, 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Uh, weed at like 11, 12, and it just progressed through like literally anything you could ask me. I tried it. I put it up my nose and my body and my mouth, to the point to where I ended up finding heroin at around 18 years old.
Eesh.
And so I did heroin for like the last year and a half before I ended up, what culminated was my dad coming home, my parents coming home, finding me passed out on the couch, needle, spoon, all the stuff in the living room, man. Like, and I was put in charge of like babysitting my two younger sisters while they were at their bowling league. Like that's what they came home to finding, right?
No.
And I'd been hiding it for like a year and a half or so. They just kind of thought I was like back in the weed again, and maybe because they caught me like selling acid in high school. I got caught with whiskey at school. I got caught with weed at school, so I was in trouble a lot.
Oh man!
Never did they think their son was going to be shooting up heroin, right, and selling it. Nevertheless,
oof, that's a big one.
So it was the thing to where I woke up violently. My dad's shaking me. My mom's yelling and screaming in the background. I'm just kind of like, man, this is like a bad nightmare. Like, what is this going on? This can't be really happening, right? Like, how stupid was I? I can't believe I did this. This was totally out of character, man. And looking back, I think I did manifest this to happen because I had been really trying hard for about 6 months to stop and to find a way I could ask for help. Once I got to the point to where like I admitted like, okay, I can't do this on my own. I keep trying and trying and trying. I was like, maybe I'll tell them I'm addicted to pills. Maybe I'll tell them the drinking's more out of hand than I thought. And this had to happen because I couldn't get the balls to ask. I couldn't get the courage to ask for help, man. And so like that pinned me in the corner, and here I am with heroin, needle, everything out. And it's like, I can't be like, oh, well, I was just trying it. Like when they caught me with weed the first time, like, oh, I just wanted to see what it was like. That's not happening. I'm not getting away with that excuse.
No.
So I woke up in the morning and I'm like, I woke up and I'm like, all right, that was a really horrible dream I had last night, man. I'm like looking for my stash and I'm like starting to get a little dope sick. And I'm like, oh shit, I think that really happened last night. So I go downstairs and my mom's on the kitchen landline calling rehab centers. And I'm like, holy shit, that really happened. But at the same time, Keegan, I had this like immense relief, like weight lifted off me. Like, all right, here we go. I'm getting help. I don't know what that means at 19. I'm not sitting here saying I want to be sober forever. I haven't even had a legal drink at 21 yet. I'm only 19. But I'm going to get help with this damn heroin thing because that's the problem. The heroin's the problem. That's the devil. I got to get rid of that. So, I got whisked off to rehab and it was the greatest thing that ever happened, man. And 46 days of rehab. And I know you had your stint with much longer and I did 46 days of rehab, 6-7 months of a halfway house. And then me and a couple other knuckleheads that we were all getting sober. We all like went and lived in apartments together and, playing music and going on conventions and chasing girls and all this stuff. But we're staying sober. Yeah. Doing a lot of dumb stuff as kids, but we're staying sober. We're doing the whole recovery thing. And I don't know, man, I don't want to go too long, but it just led into all of this stuff to where, I enjoyed helping people and I enjoyed getting help and it kind of reshaped of like who I was to become as a young man, still carrying around these childhood wounds, still carrying around this hypersensitivity, this hypervigilance, this need for approval, people pleasing, like that still was with me for so long. And, even to where, like we said, you read in the beginning, like even with, I think at the time I had like 19, 20 years of sobriety, I ended up hitting another emotional bottom. And I ended up working with a lady who's a podcaster through my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, let me know about this life coach that she was working with out of California. So I kind of like investigated a little bit. We went out to California to like an event. There was like 40 people there. And man, this lady just like cracked me open, me open that week. And with all these methods, modalities, games and stuff to where I was just like, man, I don't love myself. And I admitted in front of like a group of people in a circle at the very end to talk about like what we got out of it. And I was like, dude, I'm 20, almost 20 years sober. I'm working as a nurse practitioner. I've helped tons and tons of people. I've grown so much in my life. I have this beautiful woman that's been with me for the last, 4 or 5 years at the time. And I'm like, I want to look at myself the way that she looks at me. Like I see it when she looks at me and I'm like, I want to love me that way, man. And like, I'm not there. Like, and I'm just like logically, rationally, I'm like, why am I can't get to the heart with it. I can't love myself that way. I have no reason not to. I'm telling myself like I have no reason not to. Yeah. But I had all this unresolved childhood stuff that not to be a victim.
Yeah.
but I want to be empowered by that, you know. And I know it's kind of a cliche or a taboo thrown around word, empowered, but like I needed to like
Nah.
find a way to overcome that. I did
Yeah,
therapy.
yeah.
I did antidepressants when I was a couple years sober. Like I did all that
Mhm.
stuff, and I thought I
Yeah.
was good. I thought I was good, man. Like we're good. I still had
Mhm.
that little like thing going on, and I'd be around my parents, my mom sometimes. And so like there's so like a little bit of distance between us, even though they're so freaking
Oof.
proud of me and they bragged about how well I've done and everything. There's still that little like old
Mm.
stuff that's there.
Yeah.
So I was able to work through it with her, man, with a lot of cool techniques. And then I was like, you know what? Shit, how come I'm just focused on helping people with substance abuse? Why can't I help other men, guys that are struggling with this stuff that maybe don't even have addiction problems, that are
Mhm.
just like stubborn and don't see like what the problem is? And I'm like, maybe I could help these guys out. So I wanted to kind of venture into like the whole life coaching thing. I'm like, because as a nurse practitioner, I can only help people that live in the state of Florida. That's where I'm
Mhm.
licensed. But that's
Yeah.
again medications and medical stuff, right? Like I want to
Mhm.
help guys like I did, like get to the core root, pull that shit up and find out what those wounds are. And
Yeah.
my coach always said you have to feel it to heal it. And I know
Yep.
you've talked about that. It's like I don't want to feel.
No.
I do these things because even sober, I
Mhm.
run and I change the way I feel. I don't have to do it with drugs and alcohol. So it's
Yeah.
about like helping these men figure out like where are your self-destructive behaviors and why do we keep ourselves from, blossoming and becoming the men that we're meant to be. And I think
Mhm.
it's because we don't really deep down believe that we're worth it. I don't think
Ooh.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think like,
Yeah.
we're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we want the money, we want the girl, we want the job, the house, we want the vacations and all this. But
Mhm.
it's like, we start getting it. And then we find this way subconsciously to just blow it up. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm such a victim. Look at me. What, nothing ever
Yeah.
works out. So
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
kind of cause that stuff to happen.
Yeah. Oh man. Real quick, thank you for sharing and opening up like that
Yeah. Sorry, I
because
talked really long.
no, no, it's totally fine. I mean, that's part of the whole thing, right? Like if I just kind of read a profile, it's like, all right, cool. There's stuff to go on and tell me about paragraph 3, sentence 2. What
Right.
happened there? Like we can't do that kind of thing. And so on retrieving sanity, we want to actually like get to know who we're talking to, and we can't do that without a little bit of backstory. And so
Yeah.
with the backstory, that's whenever we can dive into the rabbit holes as we get to where we want to go eventually. And we'll get there, but I do have some questions. And also, again, congratulations on your recovery that you've got because
Yeah.
every
Thanks.
second counts. And
Yes.
I'm just glad that you were able to wake up from the heroin because, whew, buddy, like, whew, I know I haven't touched that stuff, or at least to my knowledge, I haven't touched it. So, but I know a lot of other people that have, and it's nasty.
Yes.
So, I'm just really glad that you were able to kick it, especially
Yeah.
after rehab. So, good for you, man. Like,
Thanks, man. Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah. Especially
like,
these days, the stuff that's out there, it's
oh,
just killing
yeah,
people left and right, man. It's so
hmm
dangerous.
yeah, it's very dangerous. And on that note, one of the my old co-host, Simba, we both kind of actually went to rehab with this one guy. And while Simba was back in it, I had been graduated. This guy had admitted that he was still scared, I mean, like he was actually scared of graduating. And we were
Yeah.
like, why were you scared like of graduating? Well, he openly admitted that he was curious what fentanyl was like. He wanted to try it. And they still let him graduate. And where did they find him? Well, yeah. So, but that's the kind of the thing, right? Like you can't stop someone from experiencing life. If you try to stop someone from getting their own experience, you're kind of going to get like a little bit of something out of it too. Like someone is going to get consequences because someone didn't experience what they were supposed to experience for whatever reason.
That's right.
And I think that you had to experience those years of sobriety, but still being in turmoil to
Mhm.
actually figure out that route. I think you had to experience all of that because now you found more of your purpose, right? You found something that speaks to you a little bit deeper and actually heals and puts dirt back where the hole was, right?
Yeah. Fills it up. Yep. Fills up that hole.
And one of the things that I do have to ask though is whenever y'all got out of rehab and y'all went into like sober living, y'all just decided, hey, we're just going to do this like life thing, but sober, just like they taught us in there, right?
More or less, yeah. I mean, not without some kicking and screaming and hard convincing, man. Because like I'm in rehab and I'm like, I got sober, and I think you mentioned Atlanta at some point. I got sober in Atlanta, Georgia,
Oh, okay.
and like I was living in Augusta, which is like 2.5 hours away. So that's where my family was. That's
Hmm.
where the ex-girlfriend was. That like I just had to get her back, right? So like I'm in
Oh
rehab, and
man.
I'm like, yeah, this is all fine and good, but I'm not doing any sober living stuff. I got to go back home. I got to get back. I flunked out like my first attempt at college, my first year. I'm like shooting
Mm.
dope on the school campus and going into class, like
Ugh.
not knowing what's going on. So like I got to go make that right. I got to go be a good older brother to my sisters. I need
Hmm.
to go be a good son. I need to go get that ex-girlfriend back and show her like, hey, I'm sober now. I mean business, And they're like, dude, just pump the brakes, Pat, bro.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes, pump the
Yeah.
brakes.
Yeah.
And this mentor of mine, he had me make this pros and cons list. So I
Uh-huh.
wrote out like the pros and cons of staying here in Atlanta, going back home. Like here I am building this sober network and foundation.
Hmm.
What's the hurry? What's the rush? Society says you have to be graduated at a certain age. You have to have the kids married at a certain age. He's like, F
Hmm.
that, man. Like
Yep.
if you don't stay sober, kid, you're not going to, none of that's going to be there anyways. It's
Nope.
going to go away. You're probably going to die, let alone lose all that stuff. So I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, let's stay here. And all right, fine, I'll give it 6 months. And that turned into 10 years. I ended up living in Atlanta for 10 years and never went back home. And then I came back down to South Florida, where I'm originally from, in 2012. And so I've been
Uh-huh.
down here for 13 years now. So,
Oh man.
it's like you say, it's like, what do I know? I think I know what's best, but I really don't, especially during that stage. So yeah, we just were like, yeah, let's carry the sobriety stuff that we learned and doing the recovery meetings and all that stuff. And so we just got involved, and 3 of the 4 of us were very serious about it. And
Hmm.
even 23 years later, 2 out of the 4 of us are still sober and doing the deal, and the other 2 are still
Wow.
alive. And maybe they're not alcoholics or drug addicts. Maybe it was a phase. Maybe they just don't have to do recovery stuff. Maybe
Hmm.
they just kind of grew out of it. But
Yeah.
everybody's thankfully is still alive and thriving and doing well. Just 2 of
Hmm.
us are a little more in the recovery realm, and the other 2 are just kind of living life and having
Yeah.
families. So it's cool. We're
Yeah.
all still around today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that
Yeah.
because that is kind of scary whenever a group of friends goes either out of addiction together, like into recovery or whatever. But whenever we deal with this kind of past, we all know what's on the other side of that door if we choose to open it. And the thing is that it's not a guarantee, but that's the thing, is that it's a risk, it's a chance. Death is always around the corner if we're in that realm, and it's one of those things that we don't really get to choose our last use, right? Because I know for me, every time I planned my last drink or anything, it was never my last one. Even the last one wasn't planned,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
so it wasn't that way for you either, right?
No, no. It was always like, this is it, or I'm going to do this instead. And I ended up always going back to it until, what I believe
Hmm.
in, some kind of higher power of some sort of making, intervened. And it was like, all
Yeah.
right, we're done. We're gonna stop this now. We're gonna at least give you a chance. And again, man, like my belief in the whole higher power thing is like,
Hmm.
I don't think whatever it is that exists chose me to be sober over somebody else, or
Hmm.
like I'm more unique or special than someone else. I think I got pretty much the same opportunity as a lot of people that I was running with. And
Hmm.
I just was desperate enough to say, I'm going to stop fighting and lay down
Hmm.
my sword and just give myself over and just let it go. See what happens. Let me give it 90 days. Let me give it 6 months and
Hmm.
see how it goes. Some of
Yeah.
the other guys that I knew that I ran with one of them ended up in the same rehab as me when I was like 6 months sober.
Ah.
And he didn't stick around. It didn't stick for him.
Mm.
And,
Damn.
I don't think God, whatever it is that exists, thinks like, oh, well, Chris is a bad person, so we don't want him to be sober. Like,
No.
I don't believe in something like that. Why would I believe in something that exists like that? That's like picking and choosing. So
Yeah.
I was a little tirade, but like I just think that we get the opportunity, and so
Hmm.
many awesome guys and women got put in my life during that process that
Hmm.
really helped encourage me and influence me in a positive way. And then like too, like you get the bad examples too. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like that guy. I don't want that to happen. And so like you kind of learn, if you keep your head open and your head up and your eyes open, you really pay attention, you can kind of see that shape out. And you
Mhm.
have the people that you could kind of like be role modeled after.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I just had like 3 questions hit me at once, and I was like, I don't know which one I want to ask.
Ask them all.
It's going to be a challenge to try to ask all of them in a order that makes a little bit of sense. But I guess with the first one, it would have to go to the sense of desperation, because for me, it's one of those things that I always thought that desperation was like kind of a bad thing, like who wants to be desperate? Like if you're desperate, that's a bad thing. Like you should never want to or be desperate for anything, right? But whenever I was in recovery, whenever I was in rehab, they were sitting there talking about the gift of desperation. Like they were entirely right. If I didn't have that willingness to say, okay, I don't fucking know anymore, help me out, like someone throw me a bone for once, if it wasn't for that little bit of like, all right, I guess I don't know what's best for me, let's go with what you're saying, let's give that a shot, but that it's some sort of pride maybe that kept some people out of it.
Mhm.
But for me, I don't know if it was actually necessarily pride. I think that I thought I wasn't worth the saving. I thought that I wasn't worth
Mhm.
the time, the energy, anything like that for someone to pull me out of the rut. I think that it went deeper than that. I think I was ashamed of being alive at a point. And that is something that I've come across lately, and it's something that I'm dealing with. I never would have got to that point had I not found that gift of desperation. But kind of like you, it's just been a snowball effect, it's one thing after another leads to another, but it all started with being desperate. So you were kind of probably desperate going out to California for that
Mhm.
one life coach, right?
Yeah, and not even really no, like aware. Like I wasn't really aware. I was just kind of like, it's kind of like my addiction, right? I was kind of like, well, this is just the way it is. Like I'm just going to be an alcoholic. I'm just going to be a drug addict. I guess
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'll grow out of it one day.
Yeah.
So here I am, like with all this sobriety and living life, and not even a lot of people know it, right? Because I guess I'm
Mm-hmm.
hiding it well. I'm just doing my thing, and
Yeah.
yeah, I went out there. Well, I went out there because, well, I went out there mostly because my wife, my girlfriend at the time, she wanted to go, and
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of an introvert, shy. She's like, "Hey, I want to go. Would you come with me?" And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I was like, "Sure, of course." And I guess subconsciously I was like, "Shit, maybe I'll get something out of this too." But I was like, "Yeah, babe, I'll go with you because I'm pretty extroverted." Like, "Hey, how you doing? I'll meet people and
Mm-hmm.
stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go check this out." And
Yeah.
then I ended up getting like 10 times as much, more than she got out of it. And but yeah, I think there was like the subconscious, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe this will be the thing that's been missing. Maybe this is it. And
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out to be the case. And I was just like totally floored. And so I ended
Yeah.
up, working with this lady for like 6 months doing like group sessions and individual sessions, and she
Mm-hmm.
gave me a bunch of tools and tricks and stuff to
Huh.
do afterward that I still do today that help a lot with like reshaping my neuroplasticity, right? We talk about like the
Mm-hmm.
way my brain is wired. She helped, and she has a whole like course, and she's been on tons of podcasts, and she's runs her own podcast obviously, but she calls it rewiring the brain. You rewire
Mm-hmm.
the brain. So like when I get triggered, my automatic default is to like be like, oh, I feel rejected, I'm feeling abandoned, when all they might have said was like, hey, your shirt doesn't really like fit quite right on you, and I start
Yeah.
like interpreting, making the story about something, right? Or somebody looks
Yeah.
at me weird and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling defective, I'm feeling broken, I'm feeling
Mm-hmm.
abandoned, neglected, all the childhood stuff comes up. I have an
Yep.
overreaction, and for me, I withdraw. I get very combative and fight, or
Mm-hmm.
I combat, withdraw, or I people please, because now I need to make
Mm.
you like me. So and that's
Mm-hmm.
like the worst form of manipulation possible. People please.
Yeah.
I need you to like me. Talk about desperate. I was desperate for you to like me. So I'm
Yeah.
going to look like you, dress like you, talk like you, all that stuff. Right. And
Mm.
so today, those things are rewired. Again, not perfect. Life
Mm-hmm.
happens. I'm human. You're human. I still get triggered. Things happen. But
Yeah.
it most of the time, dude, it's not anywhere near the extent of it was like before. I was like a pot of boiling water, and like any little thing was like, it would
uh,
explode.
uh-huh.
Now it's like a little more tamed. Most of the time
Mm-hmm.
it's a little more tamed. I mean, I was having like, again, when I went out there to California, dude, I was having road rage episodes. I was like
Mm.
begging people to pull over so I could fight them, like crazy stuff. Not all the time, but every once in a
Oh.
while. And I'm like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? Who are
Mm-hmm.
you? Like you're a disgrace to
Mm-hmm.
recovery. Like if people know you're in recovery, they'd be like, why would you do? I don't want
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I was like, not a good example of what it is to be a sober person, a sober man.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yeah.
really carried around a lot of shame with all that years of
Mm.
sobriety, right? We talk about it's quality,
Yeah.
not quantity.
Yeah.
Quality of recovery, not all the
Mm.
years, because that looks good and sounds good, but am I
Mm.
really like living a good life?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's true. And I remember hearing early on, and even before recovery, the term "dry drunk."
yeah,
I was like, what the hell is a dry drunk? I was like, they're just an asshole, But now I totally get it. Like, the dry drunk is someone that has the drunk personality type, the character defects, if you will, coming out full force, but without the alcohol. And I
yeah,
don't know about you, but I'd rather deal with the person that is a wet alcoholic, because that person, whenever they sober up, they're at least a decent person. Their drunk self is just a dick. So
yeah. You got the Jekyll and Hyde thing going on.
yeah, yeah. But whenever we're doing that, we can't really sit there and hide behind a mask like that whenever we're in recovery, because in active addiction, it's so easy to throw on that mask, to hide behind that substance, whatever, to kind of get a little bit of an escape, to kind of release the valve on the boiler
Yeah,
cooker, if you will. Boiler cooker, that's not a thing, but
something
we're
like that.
we're
Yeah, the
we're
boiler
running
or
with
the
it. It's a
cooker.
yeah, yeah, pressure cooker, but it's a boiler cooker now.
There you go.
So, but and you said something too along the way that the lady taught you some things that you do to this day. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like mental hygiene of sorts, right? It's kind of
For
like
sure. Good way of putting it. Yeah.
you're going through every day and you're cleaning up all the little stuff, and if you don't get rid of that little stuff over a little bit of time, it builds up and becomes a bigger problem, right?
Right. And then I kind of like know where I'm at, because sometimes I can get, I could be in a negative headspace. Like, I shouldn't
Mm.
have to do all this stuff. I shouldn't have to do like a appreciation journal. And I shouldn't have to like, look at myself in the mirror and say nice things. I shouldn't have to like do this and that. And,
Mm.
I should be better than this. And it's all that old stuff that still wants to kind of creep in once in a while. It's like, you're a
Yeah.
good kid. And so it's about, you know, and you've heard this too, like it's about parenting ourselves, being the
Mm.
parent maybe we didn't have, or maybe we want, or maybe we don't have kids. I don't have kids, so it's like I need to try to parent that inner child. I mean, I need to parent
Mm.
myself, and like why do I always talk so horrible to myself? Like that was
Mm.
the message I got 4 years ago was
Mm.
I'd made a mistake, and I was like, you piece of shit, man, you dumb mother, you know
Mm.
better than that. It's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk to my nephews like that, my niece. I wouldn't talk to my cousins. I wouldn't talk to strangers' kids like that. Like,
Mm.
why do we're so harsh? We're the meanest critic to ourselves, and
Yeah.
it's not just in recovery. It's everybody in the world is that way, right?
Mm.
We just take it to the extreme, or at least for us, it can cause it can be life and death for us because we have a destructive drinking and or drugging issue that
Mm.
we can end up going back to. So
Yeah.
I have to love that kid, take care of that kid, and just reassure him everything. Not necessarily that everything's going to be okay,
Mm.
because it is, but like right now in this moment, it is okay. It's good.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
good. Everything's fine. I'm
Mm.
sitting here talking with Keegan on the podcast. Like everything's good, man. You're awesome, dude. So it's
Mm.
just about building that stuff up, and
Mm.
you know how it is too. Like with like the dry drunk thing, it's about consistency and not getting complacent, or at least when we do, hit the restart button, start over. Don't
Mm.
be so hard on yourself and say you shoulda, woulda, all that
Mm.
stuff.
Yeah. And I think that that is one of the things that a lot of people really do have problem with, just being our toughest critics, because someone's told me that we're meaner to ourselves than we are to anyone else, which I totally
100%.
agree with,
Yeah.
like, and they said that you'll never treat someone worse than you'll treat yourself. I think
Mhm.
that's how they put it. And I was like, oh, that's actually really true. But in my case, at least, and if that's the case for everyone, then for some of the people that are outward, just not good people, I wonder how much they're really hurting on the inside. And that makes me sad, you know?
Right? The saying hurt people hurt people.
Yep. Yeah. And that's another thing. Those sayings that come up in recovery, I hate them, but they hold a lot
Yeah.
of value. They hold
There's
a
a
lot
reason
of
why they
water.
stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it just wouldn't have stuck with me if I didn't give it that shot. What's one of the things that you try to help guys with whenever you're trying to lead them into trying something new, to tap into their feelings, to unleash, to release something that maybe they think other people can't handle?
Yeah, it's really about helping them realize, look at your track pattern, your track
Mm-hmm.
record right now, rather, like, look at
Mm-hmm.
everything that's been going on. Do you like the way that's working, right? Like we say, like,
Yeah.
if you like what you're getting, keep doing what you're doing, and if you
Yeah.
don't, try something different. It all goes back to what you said, the gift of desperation. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody wants to work with me, are they just trying to appease their wife or get their mom
Mm-hmm.
off their back or something? Or, like, do they really want to get down and dirty and get into it because you're wasting your time? I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to take somebody's money if I'm trying to help coach them with something, or
Mm-hmm.
if they're in recovery, I will spend time with them because, again, we don't do transactional money in recovery, right? But if I'm trying to help
Mm-hmm.
somebody get sober, I'll spend time with them, but you have to meet me like at least a fourth
Mm-hmm.
of the way. I'm not going to say you have to meet me halfway in the beginning because I know how it is. It's scary. But, like, you have
Mm-hmm.
to meet me somewhere in the middle, close to the
Yeah.
middle, to where, you know, you have to take responsibility of it. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, you have to feel it to heal it. And so if you're not processing things, if you're not crying, every couple months, every 3 months, or you're not having some kind of rage episode, you have to let that out, because we all have life
Mm-hmm.
that builds up inside of us. And I think we are so good at stuffing it down that it does come out into, like, medical manifestations, right? Like, people start
Mm-hmm.
developing neck pain, back pain, cancers,
Mm-hmm.
heart issues, palpitations, stomach issues, diarrhea, headaches, migraines, the whole stuff, right? Because I think
Mm-hmm.
we stuff that stuff down, and it's our body's way of saying, hey, dude, you got to look at this. Hey, you got to deal with this. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, like, I can't be an angry person because anger is a bad thing. It's like, no, it's normal to be angry.
Yeah.
It's how we show it, how we
Mm-hmm.
exert it out. So it's like, we got to find healthy ways to get that out. Grab a pillow, punch something, break something that's, okay to break, like,
Mm-hmm.
to where you're not hurting or, like, scaring or intimidating somebody else. You have to express it and get it out some way or
Mm-hmm.
another.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so helping guys realize that, and then when they do get in touch with something and they start getting the tearing, it's like, and they want to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm like, don't ever apologize for crying. Like, this is
Yeah.
where it is. This is the magic. This is the beautiful thing that happens in recovery, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's just recovering from your trauma or recovering from drugs and alcohol. Is like, you have to cry.
Yeah.
You haven't cried in so long, just like you probably haven't really laughed genuinely in so long. Like, those are all the signs, I think, of somebody getting better:
Uh-huh.
crying and laughing. Like,
Yeah.
you remember, right? Remember, like, your early days in rehab and recovery, that
Mm-hmm.
genuine laughter, a belly laugh. You're just like,
Uh-huh.
you don't care about how stupid you sound or anything like that. Like, you would tell yourself, you're just
Yeah.
laughing, not giving a shit what anybody thinks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the healing signs, I think, of recovery. And that's, I think, the spirituality of sobriety that starts to happen is when we start to have that laughter. But
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times it has to start with the crying, which we haven't done in the longest time, to get in touch with everything.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's really for sure, man. And I mean, I'm so glad that you help guys get to that point of being able to cry, because that is huge. Like,
Yeah.
so many guys just need to do that. And I want every guy that is listening to this to know that it's, like you said, it's totally okay to cry. It totally is. And I also want to offer them the permission to cry. Here's the
Yeah.
permission to cry. If you don't want anyone to know that you're crying, go find a bathroom. Go find a porta potty if you have to, like, go find somewhere, like, all alone out in the wilderness, and let it out. Just something, but do it for you, because at the end of the day, no one else is going to ever be there besides you. And someone hit me with the fact that we're all going to die alone. I was like, damn it, you're right. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, no matter what, like, even if people are by your bed, like, no one's going with you.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, if I'm going to hate myself now, like, what am I going to be like to myself whenever everything's done and over with? And I don't want to be haunting myself. That's tiresome, and I'm
You don't want to
lazy.
be afraid. You don't want to be afraid. You want to know, like, you did everything you wanted to do and
Mm-hmm.
could have done.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, in recovery, we get that chance to really sit there and put ourselves out there. We get to do that, but we can't do that whenever we're hiding behind those emotions that are so repressed. We don't even know who we are, you know?
I never saw my dad cry. I never saw any of my uncles cry, my grandfathers. Like, I never had
Mm-hmm.
an adult male role model who cried, who talked
Mm-hmm.
about feelings. It wasn't until
Yeah.
I got to recovery and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
but like in a really positive way. Like I could feel it. It was tugging on my heartstrings, man. I was like,
Mm,
oh my God, like this is really moving and powerful. Like I don't really
mm,
get this and know what this is all about or understand this, but I couldn't deny that like something I was having some kind of reaction in a positive way on the inside, and that
mm.
attracted me to do more, to come more, and to like to want to be around those guys who cried. I want to be around men who cry. What? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, isn't it? Because whenever we're growing up, we're taught that crying is almost shameful in a sense.
Yeah,
Like,
don't cry. Stop crying. Stop
yeah,
crying.
if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about,
There you
kind of
go.
thing.
Yep.
And oof, that one fucking sucked.
All the time.
Yeah,
Heard that a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, and it's one of those things where if you're getting that kind of thing told to you by the people that you're supposed to look up to, that are supposed to be the supportive, loving, like parental figures, that really messes with you in a lot of ways. But that's so normalized that we all kind of think that that trauma is supposed to, like, oh, it's just coming of age. You're 6 years old, of course you're going to be told pull up your bootstraps, stop crying, you're past 5 years old now, that's kiddie stuff. But really, I think it's more powerful for someone to show how they're actually feeling, because if someone is vulnerable, it's showing that they are human. And I think that we like to kind of put on this statue mask,
Yeah.
like we're trying to be so stoic that nothing can affect us, whenever we're on the inside, like if you were to zip down that statue, it'd be just nothing but dust.
And like not be on a pedestal, like I
Mm-hmm.
always put people on pedestals and not treated them like equals or humans. And like that brings them down from like this
Mm-hmm.
mighty pedestal that they're on. And like, I don't want to be on a pedestal for anybody else. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
equal and even with you. And so
Mm-hmm.
if I can show my emotions, and and that's another thing too, to tell you, when you asked about how do you get other men especially to like be vulnerable and cry, it's like you
Mm.
have to take the lead. So like I have to take the lead and share an
Ooh.
emotional thing, and
Mm-hmm.
show them that like this is a safe place, this is okay, and
Mm-hmm.
here's why and here's how, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I was not told, how to do all this sobriety and be a sensitive vulnerable man. I was shown how to do those things, and like
Mm-hmm.
that was very attractive to me. So like I would hope that somebody would be attracted to me in the sense of like wanting to get help if I'm showing that the same way that other my mentors showed me the same way.
Mm-hmm. You know, here's a quick question for you. Do you get asked for help just out of the blue a lot, like either in recovery or like
Yeah.
throughout most of your life? You
Yeah,
just kind of get.
especially like coworkers, like people that work with me, work under me, over me. They have family members,
Mm-hmm.
friends, or they're like, "Hey, I want to ask you." They'll pull me aside. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. What about strangers?
Yes.
So, what's interesting is that humans actually are wired to be able to recognize who is going to offer help whenever they are asked. So, it's
It's like
very.
having like random weird conversations at the grocery store with a total stranger. I'm like, "Whoa, okay,
Yep.
okay."
Yep.
Just standing in line or bump into them, and they just start to
Uh-huh.
I'm like we're best friends for years. I'm like, oh my
Uh-huh.
God, this is wild. And I think it is that what you're saying too. And I think it's like the energy we put out there,
Mm-hmm.
to where you're more approachable in that way. Just like before I found recovery, people would come find me anywhere and offer me drugs. I tell guys
Mm-hmm.
now, I can't tell you the last time somebody like thought I was somebody that would be a good person to sell drugs to. Because
Uh-huh.
they'll tell me, right? Like, oh, they'll say like, oh, I was 2 months sober and I went to the gas station. Somebody offered me some fentanyl. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, that hasn't happened to me in like 20 years. Like, I don't put that, I guess I just don't put that out there. I don't look
Yeah.
like that kind of person anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, I think in the opposite way, like I could put out that positivity to where, like you said, I never really considered that either. That like just
Mm-hmm.
people just want to like, hey, tell you their life story, or, tell you
Mm-hmm.
about somebody in their life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the kind of people that we need leading the way whenever it comes to breaking down the emotional dam. Because for a lot of people, whenever they start really digging into it, it's a torrential flood of sorts. It's something that comes and hits a lot of people. It sweeps them off their feet, and maybe they don't remember where they like got the problem from in the first place, and they're just like, why am I even crying? And
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Then they're like, "I'm sorry, I'm crying. I don't know why."
yeah,
It's like, "Well, I
and
do."
yeah, but that's the thing, is that we have so much repressed energy and emotions in us that I don't think we'll ever really fully be healed from everything that we've experienced. Because as soon as we kind of experience one healing, or like you said, like the healing a trigger, you don't necessarily like, oh, nothing triggers me anymore. It's just that it's like,
Mm,
oh, it doesn't affect me. Like it hits me. I don't go to a 12, I go to a 3,
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly.
Um, so, what are some of the things that you found have really shocked you in your recovery, and what others have shocked you with their recovery whenever you're helping them?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, uh, helping a guy that was actually a couple years sober longer than me. He was
Mm-hmm.
like 24, 25 years sober. And this is a
Mm-hmm.
guy that he's like been married 3 times, divorced 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pretty big recluse. Like he was involved in recovery events and meetings and all those things, but he
Mm-hmm.
was very kind of introverted, was like a huge victim. Like it was the first thing I picked up and pointed out to him. I was like, anybody ever talk to you about victim mentality? He's been
Mm-hmm.
seeing like the same therapist weekly for like 3.5 years. She had never mentioned anything to him about victim type stuff. And I just
Mm-hmm.
was shocked. And like he had never left the state of Florida in the last like 7 or 8 years since his last divorce. Like he just lived a very like sheltered, um, and it all came from self-worth. It all came from very
Mm-hmm.
low self-worth. And I'm not judging him. I've been there. I know what that's
Yeah.
like. I can see it, right? You spot it, you
Mm-hmm.
got it. I know what that is. I
Mm-hmm.
know that. I see it.
Yeah.
I feel it. I get that. So helping him was like huge, man. And now he's like, this was about 3 years ago. Now he's like gone to like North Carolina with us the last couple of summers on like these men's retreats. He's gone to like the Virginia mountains to see like his family members that he hadn't seen in so long. He's going out on dates. He's been dating the same woman now for like going on, I think, about 2 months at this point. And he
Ooh.
hadn't dated or had physical intimacy in like 3 years. So like it's
Wow.
just like, so it's not a life or death thing again, like saving somebody from the grave of addiction, but it's like somebody
Mm-hmm.
who'd been sober for a long time that wasn't thriving, was
Mm-hmm.
like holding himself back, man. Like we
Yeah.
would call it in the medical realm, when you treat a patient that's not physically medically doing well, you call it failure to thrive. So this
Mm-hmm.
guy, in a spiritual, emotional sense, was having failure to thrive, and it's like
Yeah.
cool to like help him, scoop him up. And it's not that Patrick was this great, wonderful saint, but I was just
Mm-hmm.
there to kind of like point some stuff out to him, and I did. I had the courage to do it. I wasn't afraid to tell him, like,
Ooh.
dude, like like we're talking, and all I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing is like all this victim stuff in the last like 10 minutes of all these stories you're telling me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like somebody that goes on vacation and they tell you like how they tell you like, oh, the vacation was awesome, but then they sit there and tell you like 16 things that were horrible about the vacation. You're like, I
Yeah.
thought you said you had a good time on vacation. It's like that's a
Uh-huh.
person that lives in that victim mentality and
Mm-hmm.
that attention seeking. And again, not judging. I get it because I've done it. I know what that's like. And so
Yeah.
it's like trying to help somebody kind of reshape and put on some new lenses to see things a
Mm-hmm.
little differently. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's cool. Um, and just the everyday situation where somebody's just been kind of struggling, not able to stay sober, and then just kind of helping them in a different way than maybe the last guy that was helping him go through like recovery processes, to help him do it a little differently, and for him to go, oh well, last time we kind of skipped this part, or I didn't even know about this part, and to see that like, oh wow, that. And I'm like, well, that might have been a big reason why you got into a relationship when you were like 8 months sober. And that might be why,
Mm-hmm.
when she had a drink, you were just like, you gave in. You're like, oh yeah, I'll have a drink too. I'm on vacation, never thinking like, wait, I'm 8 months sober. Like
Oh
life's
no.
going really good, and here I am like going down because of this woman I'm at. And again, that's not taking responsibility. It's like, well, you
Mm.
never did, an inventory on your sexual relationships and like your
Uh-oh.
intimacy and your certain resentments and all those things about. So it's like, well,
Oh man.
no wonder like
Yeah,
things
yeah.
didn't go well. You kind of like skimped on some areas that uh, are gonna like keep you from becoming the person you want to be, I think, at least.
Mm-hmm. Skipping on some areas that might actually be really tying back to some childhood wounds.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's why I asked, like, what was a relationship like? Again, I'm not a therapist. I'm like, but what
Yeah.
was it like with your parents? Were your parents together? Like, were you close
Mm-hmm.
with your mom? Were you, were your mom as a boy? Were you like,
Mm-hmm.
did you fight with your mom all the time? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because those are like very important, and that shapes, like, at least for me, because I remember in
Mm-hmm.
my first marriage, I was treating my wife at the time like I was having like the same relationship I was having with my mom, and in some regards, in terms of like the negativity and like how I would overreact to things that she would say and do. And she would even point to me a couple of times, Keegan. She would even point out to me and she would say, I'm not your mom, right? And because she knew I
Mm-hmm.
like my issues and stuff growing up, she's like,
Yeah.
I'm not your mom, right? Like that's not what I meant. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
I was like stabbing me right in the heart, man. Like, so
Ugh.
yeah, that's stuff. So when I got divorced, it was a very amicable, clean divorce, but I vowed, man, like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm going to become a better man. I don't want to be that kind of person in my next relationship. And, we've been
Mm-hmm.
together now, 8.5, almost 9 years. And because of that, we just got married in July, like I was telling you before we started recording, because she knew I was pretty traumatized from my first marriage and not in a huge hurry to get married again. But God love her,
Yeah.
man. She was just such an angel, and she just stuck with me, was patient with me, never pressured me. Not a single time did she ever pressure me to get married.
Wow.
So I proposed to her last year, and then we just got married in July. So it's
Congratulations
awesome,
again.
man. Thanks, man. It's just, you want to do better. We want better for ourselves, man. We want to do better and be better, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to like go down to dark places to learn. And before we, like, the gift of desperation, before I'm desperate enough to make a change, I don't
Yeah.
voluntarily just change and become a better person. I usually have to get like beaten in a little bit, get my head smacked against the wall a little bit before I'm like, okay, now I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm the same way, and it sucks. Like,
Yeah, why are we like that?
yeah, like I remember hearing a long time ago that life is the best teacher through the school of hard knocks
Yeah,
or something like that. And I was
yeah.
like, whatever. Like, I'll be able to learn through other people. And
Oh
then
yeah.
I found myself sitting there going like, if cigarettes are so bad, why do so many people smoke them? I think I'll give that a shot, figure it out myself,
Yeah.
and then that I don't have to go on like that's where so many other bad mistakes actually came from. But
Mhm.
that's the thing is that I'm the guy that has to figure it out personally because why it's and
Yeah.
I just have to accept
Yeah.
that.
I was the same way. I got taught all kinds of things my first 2 years, and yeah, okay, yep, got it. Oh yeah, I'm never gonna do that. And then here I am at 2.5, 3 years sober, doing some of those things, going, shit, they told me that wasn't probably a good idea, and that wasn't gonna
Hmm.
work out well because it didn't do it for them. And here I am doing the same thing. It's
Hmm.
like, oh God, I knew better. And you do it
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, kind of. I think I may have heard what you were saying there. We can't do it for them, kind of like our recovery. We can't do it for other people. We got to do it for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It,
so that's why I think sometimes we have to like get it beaten into us.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is that sometimes we don't get that third or fourth chance, right?
No.
And
Correct.
we really have to sit there and at some point get desperate enough to make this one count. And I think that that's just the hard part, whenever people like us, we've been on that road, we've been in those dark places, and it's like, hey, like we've been through it, like there is another side. We're trying to let you know, like, you don't have to do everything the same way that we did. You don't have to do the same exact things that this other person does. All we're letting you know is that the light is there. You can find it yourself, but you have to walk it. We're here to help you. But that's the thing is that you can't sit there and want it more for someone than they want it for
Yeah.
themselves.
I can't carry you down that path, but I can walk with you.
Hmm.
Like, come this way. And
Yeah.
I always say it's like, again, we're nobody special. It's like we're the half blind leading the blind. Like, that's it. That's all it
Yeah.
is, man. Like, I'm not. I kind of know where it's at, where the nooks and crannies and the pitfalls are. To just come with me down this zigzag road, and
Hmm.
you're going to be okay. Trust me, because me and all these other millions of people have gone down the same exact path, and look at where it's headed towards us. So I'll show you. But I'm not going to pick you up and carry you. You're too heavy.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'll
No
show you.
offense.
Yeah, I'm not strong
uh,
enough.
yeah. And I mean, it's just one of those things that we have to have a lot of determination, a lot of grit, a lot of resilience, a lot of things that we don't like to build or really have. But if we don't have it, we're not going to make it. Like, it's just life. There's no easy way out. It really sucks. Um,
Yeah, you can't have everything gifted to you. It can't just be handed to you on a platter, right? Like you have to
mm-mm.
experience it.
Yeah. And I think experience is beautiful whenever you actually get to sit there, remember it, and just actually be in the moment. But damn, is that hard?
It sucks, but then when you realize and when you stay, sober long enough and see the rewards of it, you see like, oh, this is something that I can now share because there's always somebody that comes along in my life that's struggling with something that I had struggled with a year ago, 10 years ago. And it's like, oh,
Hmm.
I can tell you what I did and showed you. Not that you have to do the same thing, but I can show you like I know what that's like. I did that. So it's like
Hmm.
all our experiences, just like our addiction experiences and overcoming that, all the life stuff that we overcome is something that we can too help somebody else get out of the scrap. And maybe that will save them from relapse because we're showing them the right way to do it, or that there is a way to do it because we did it that
Hmm.
way without having to get messed up to
Yeah.
overcome it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just got to thank you again for doing what you do for everyone out there, because it
Yeah.
is amazing work that you do. Oh, I forgot. Real quick, what is your
Yeah.
website so that people can find you and your services?
Yeah, sure. PatrickCaseyJr.com. So it's Patrick and then last name CAS. There you go. EY and then JR.com. And Instagram at Patrick Casey Jr. as well.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thanks.
And you mostly do men's coaching, is that correct?
Correct. Yep. Yep. I'm not opposed to women either, but most, you know how it is where men
Yeah.
typically they kind of gravitate more towards us. Women aren't always going
Mm,
to feel comfortable or safe, but I've talked to plenty of women, even if it's sometimes just like the spouses or like a parent or
yeah.
an aunt of somebody that's, hey, I want my son to come talk to you, or hey, how do I convince my husband to come talk to you? So I even have a
Yeah.
couple like free online courses that I did. One of them specifically for friends and family of somebody who's struggling, like how to kind of like help them see that and to how to like gently like approach them with that. So
Hmm.
those are all on the website too. That's again free for anybody to watch.
Okay, sweet. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, man, cool.
Real quick, we are getting near the end of this episode, unfortunately. Man, time flies.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but I've got to ask, do you think that we could see you on in the future to talk more about childhood wounds and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
100%. Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, I'd love
Um,
to.
well, with that, do you think that you're ready to play our game show for this evening, real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what's up.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick. Our game show for this evening is called Mindset Medic. I'm going to give you a phrase or a sentence of sorts that is a wounded thought, if you will.
Okay.
And I need you to give me 3 to 7 words that act as compassionate gauze to stop the bleeding. So,
Nice. Nice.
all
Stop
right.
the bleed.
Yeah, here we go. I'm a failure because I relapsed.
Difficult in 7 words. Okay.
Yeah, it is. You can do it like 10 or 15 if you need to.
It's okay. It's okay. I get long-winded. Failure because I relapsed. You didn't waste time before you relapsed. You can use that knowledge and wisdom moving forward. You're still alive, and not everybody can say that to have another
Oh.
chance.
Yeah, I like that. All right. What about I'm too angry to be a good father or husband?
Anger is okay. Let's talk about how to show that
Hmm.
so that you can be the husband and father you want to be.
Okay.
It's hard in 7 words, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It is. It is hard in 7 words. It is. What about I need to find a way to direct my anger? Maybe, I don't know. Man, this is hard.
Yeah. I guess it sounds a little. Yeah. So I'm too angry. So, don't
No.
show the anger towards them.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I like that. So what about if people knew the real me, they'd leave?
I bet everything they will love you.
Ooh. Okay. Ooh. I like that.
Trying to keep
What
it short.
That was a good one. What about I can't trust myself to make good decisions?
Eventually, you will ask the right person for help.
Ooh. Ooh, I love that. Ask the right person for help. Eventually. Oh, okay. So what about I just don't know how to love myself?
Hits home, doesn't it?
Mm.
Everything you're doing is already showing that you love yourself.
Oof. Ooh. Just by being alive shows that you love yourself.
Just by
Ooh.
being here, just by talking to me, just by asking questions, just by listening to podcasts, reading books, just by seeking and searching, you're already showing yourself that you love yourself, that you're worth it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing that.
Oh man, that is a really good way to frame that.
Yeah.
And up last, but definitely not least, I am broken.
We are all broken to some extent.
Mm.
We can be less broken later.
Mm. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, for playing our Mindset Medic game, I've got a title for you, and we have decided to bestow upon you the honorary title of the Guide of the Inner Keep for Retrieving Sanity. So
Nice.
Thank you for playing.
Nice. I'll take it. I gladly accept.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Patrick.
Yes.
One last question for everyone out there. Patrick, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how living life impacts all facets of mental health. What's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone that is on their recovery journey?
Telling at least one person every day 5 things you appreciate and a couple things that you're looking forward to happening in your life, whether you have them like scheduled on the calendar or things you just want to happen. So like, I appreciate these things, and then these are things that I'm looking forward to doing or having in my life.
Okay. And you say do that every day?
Mhm.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. You don't have to write it down, but tell somebody. Call, hey, what's going on? How's your day going? Yeah, okay. So I appreciate my sobriety. I appreciate my wife. I appreciate my health. I appreciate my fitness. I appreciate, my having a driver's license. I'm looking forward to going on this trip to see my family during Christmas. I'm looking forward to, getting my paycheck next week. I don't know, anything like that.
Okay.
Or I'm looking forward to traveling all over Europe in the future. Again, I don't have that planned or anything like that, but maybe that's something I want to happen in my life one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. So it's kind of like a little bit of a gratitude list, but with the added future goal setting in there too.
Yes.
So
yes.
that
Again, putting it out into the universe. I want this stuff to happen.
Yep.
Out there.
Oh man, just like accidentally manifesting. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily accidentally, but I mean, we don't really get to choose how the things happen, so it can feel like an accident. That's for sure.
But I think it makes us more keenly aware and focused on that, because now I'm going to start looking at, places to go in Europe, or I'm going to start looking at, what does it cost to go to Europe? And so I'm going to start kind of like getting that little bit of train going, and then something's going to come along somewhere, some way, somehow.
Yep, someone's going to say this weirdest conversation to you while you're at Walmart, and you're just going to catch that Expedia has a certain BOGO deal, like buy one airplane ticket, get one for free or something, and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to make this happen.
No way. Or, oh yeah, you have an aunt that has an Airbnb in France? No way. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna let me stay there for like half of what they charge people? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, it all depends on asking the right person. So sometimes getting a little bit of desperation will help us be like, ooh, maybe that person has an idea,
Yeah. Or like, again, I think listening to that intuition that we have, that we've probably ignored most of our lives too, that we kind of like, that's silly. Why would I think that? Don't think about that. Actually paying attention to that intuition that we have.
And the intuition can ask people for directions, everyone out there.
Don't be stubborn.
I'm mostly speaking to past self me, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like we can help ourselves in the past, even though we can't time travel. But that's a whole nother conversation for later.
I agree.
Patrick, thank you for being on the show today. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure, and
thanks,
I'm
Keegan.
looking forward to
it too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our next conversation because it's going to be absolutely awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And as always, You got to love yourself, try to love others if you can, but you got to love yourself first. And if you're having a hard time with that and you've got a mental health crisis, give the number 988 a call. And if you're in the LGBTQ plus community, give the Trevor Project up in Canada a call, and they'll take care of you just as well. So with that being said, we're going to end this episode here. Thank you again. This has been Patrick Casey, and you can find him at patrickcaseyjr.com, and we will see y'all next week. Much love. Shalom.